Yes, a little bit of introduction about RQY Careers as well. RQY Careers is a UK-based tech-driven company that, empowers professionals, immigrants, students, international professionals, as well as locals, right, in their quest to thrive and elevate their careers in the UK as well as the global job markets, right? We do this through our services and, our training offers. In terms of our services, we have a list of them. We have the CV optimization, LinkedIn optimization, career consultation and advisory, interview preparation, professional portfolio, cover letters, among others. In terms of our trainings, we've got the UK Compliance Bootcamp, which is the reason why you are here today. We've got the data analysis and business intelligence, projects management, business analysis, Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint, Scrum Master, Product Owner, and we've got loads more to unfold in the course of the year as well. So I'll just revisit the chat section again to see. Okay, we've got Boye from Bristol, customer service advisor. Nice to meet you, and thanks for joining, Ajiboye. Okay, so at 2:10, we're going to start, the business of the day. We're going to try to make the class as interactive as possible. So, we're going to use the chat box a lot as well to achieve that. So from time to time, I would ask you guys to give me your opinion about some things, and I would expect speedy response as well in the chat box, to keep the class interactive. So what do we think, in your own, based on your own view or perception of life, right? Just use one word, right, to describe, what you think compliance is all about. What do you think, compliance is all about? I'm using one word or using a phrase. What do you think compliance? Because I know that, if two people are looking at a particular object, right, they would always have different perception, right? Two perceptions are never, the same. What do you think compliance is all about? And I'm sure that in one way or the other in your life, you've had, to actually wear the compliance hats, either in your personal lives, either in your careers, either in your studies, you've had to actually be compliant to something. Right. Okay. So yes, thanks. I have some people giving it a go already. I've got Elizabeth saying obedience. I like that. I have EO. She said is ensuring the right thing is done regardless. I like that as well. Those are very, very smart perspectives about, accurate. They're also very accurate as well. Okay, do we have any more people giving it a go? Following policy and procedures. Thank you for that. Hey, I've got smart people, in this session. Ensuring the right thing is done. Adhering to something. Following policy and procedures. Sticking to a set of rules and regulations. Adhering by the rules. Samuel says guidelines. Sonami says following rules. Thank you guys. Funke says more about governance. Thank you for that as well. Checks and regulations. More about governance. Adhering to already set rules, regulations. Nobody has been wrong so far. Really, nobody has been wrong. We've all been right. Compliance is all about, ensuring that individuals, businesses operate within the bounds of the law, adhere to regulations, meet ethical or industry or whatever standards that guide, their operations, their business, their projects, their activities. So that's what compliance is all about. So in some cases, this compliance could be, within the legal industry. Sometimes it could be within the banking industry. Sometimes it could even be, in the property industry. It could be in any industry at all where a set of rules have been put in place or to prevent the occurrence as well, rules are put in place to protect people, right? To protect probably people from being defrauded, to protect, systems being exploited, to protect people being exploited as well. So to ensure that this is achieved, there has to be compliance and monitoring. So everyone, is right. So what does compliance, entail? You've all said all what, compliance entails really. And, it's in the finance space, would say that, it's, it entails financial regulations, data protection, depending on anti-money laundering in some cases. So I mean, based on your previous industry, right? There's another task I have for us again. Based on your previous industry, I would like you to just mention, one regulation that guides, or who do you think your regulators are? And, or either the name of your regulator or the name or the regulation you think guides you. So you just say for instance, if you are in the health, you just mention the name and say health and care. So let's give that a go again. Let's see how many people know who they are, who regulates the industry they operate in, or who regulates their businesses. So either from business, in the your education, whatever it is that is your background, right? Who are your regulators? So I'm going to go to the chat box again. Right, so we have a couple of introductions. We have Amara as well from Cambridge. She's a lawyer doing a master's in international business law. Of course, I see CBN, NG, NGX, CBN. Okay, I have banking, FCA. That would be in the UK, right? Solicitors Regulation, UK. Right, fantastic. So do we have more? Do we have people in other industries that know their regulators? I've not seen, a very popular industry. SRA. What industry would that be? CQC. That's health and care. SRA will be what industry, please? That will be. Or what institution? CQC is definitely the health and care. I think we are getting the point now. SRA, Solicitors Regulation Authority. That's also for solicitors. Fantastic. Right. So I think, we all understand it. So it is very important to identify, the regulators in our industry, as well. CBN, that's the Nigerian banking industry. Fantastic. So we all know what's, so how do, like for this space, which is, the UK, we all know that, for different industries, for instance, there are different regulations. Same as well for different countries or continents, or what do we call them now? Unions or whatever, maybe EU, and the likes. There are different, regulators that guide, and protects people in those countries. So for this space, right? What are the essentials to transition to the career, the compliance career path? The compliance career path is a very, very interesting path, a very, very interesting career. I mean, not only from the fact that, you are protecting people, you are protecting, institutions, you are protecting, businesses as well from being exploited. You are also involved. No day is the same. Every day there's always something interesting, to work on and all that. Right. So what are the essentials for the compliance field? So the first thing is for you to understand the relevant laws that guide, your industry, your country, whatever country it is that you intend to work in. So you need to understand your industry. You need to have industry knowledge as well as legal knowledge. You need to have understanding of the relevant laws, the relevant regulations, that guide. And these regulations are usually, updated from time to time. So if you have interest in transitioning to the compliance field, you have to be someone who is also interested in, pursuing knowledge, trying to be updated, keeping abreast of, laws. Today, like for instance, if you look at the immigration law, for instance, now in the last couple of months, there's been different, there's been a lot of changes, so you can't rely on knowledge of yesterday for today, because what was legal yesterday might not be legal today, or might not be legal, tomorrow, based on changes in the legal framework. So it's also very important to understand the regulatory framework. You need to familiarize yourself with the specific, regulatory bodies and agencies. I think I already said that. So if in the stop, are you there?
Sorry, guys, just a brief break in network.
Yes, sorry guys, I'm back. Please confirm if you can hear me now.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so thank you. So yes, depending on the industry, right? You need to familiarize yourself with the regulatory framework. Ongoing training and education is necessary. I've said that before. If you are interested in this industry, you have to be someone who is, very much interested in keeping abreast, and staying up to date. You have to be very interested in, not, you can't learn everything in a 3 months period, 1 month period. You need to actually embrace continuous, developments, right? So you have to also understand data protection and, privacy, as well as, so what are the skills we need? So yeah, what are the skills, as someone who is interested in this field? Before we talk about this, I have another very interesting, stuff for us. What role are you looking to explore in the compliance industry? So I'll visit the chat.
Sorry, just a brief break again.
So sorry guys. Yes, so let's visit the chat box. So I said that, what area of compliance are you looking to explore? What roles are you looking to explore? Because I know that for you to be in this session, right, you're actually considering a career path, in compliance, or in any of the roles, that we've, mentioned, or the fields we've mentioned earlier, right? So be it, like, I would like to hear from you using the chat box as well. What roles are you looking to explore, or would you like to, like, land, from within the compliance industry? So let's see who's coming first. Please, let's keep up the interaction and engagements. I've been loving it. Okay, so Lovette says documentation. Okay, so what role would that be? So yeah, let's bring it on. Let's bring it on. So what roles are you looking to explore within the compliance field? KYC. So EO says KYC. So either a KYC analyst, risk assessments. Thank you, Tomilayo. Financial compliance. Thank you. Consumer and customer protection. That's Funke. Thank you for that. KYC analyst. Thank you, Jasmine. KYC CDD AML analyst. Thank you for that. AML profession. Thank you for that. Let's bring it on. Let's bring it on. Risk assessments. Thank you for that. So yes, pretty much, what I've been talking about based on, the different areas. Sanctions experts. Thank you for that as well. So based on all these examples we have given, what are the skills that, you need to have to thrive in this field? The skills you need to have, number one is analytical thinking. You need to have analytical skills. You need to be able to think analytically, work based on facts and not sentiments, think logically, right? You need to have, legal and industry knowledge. You need to understand anti-money laundering principles. You need to understand KYC. You need to have a very good understanding of, GDPR, as well as data protection, documentation, and record keeping as well. You need to also have, the risk assessment skills, as well as continuous improvements. As professionals in your previous career path, I will tell you that, almost 90% of the skills you need to transition to this career in compliance, right? You already have it. Your communication skills, those are pretty much, you need communication skills regardless of the roles you're moving to. So don't think that, oh, I want to transition. I've been a solicitor all my life. Oh, I even have my own practice, but now I'm in the UK. It looks like I have to start from zero, or it looks like, what would this field be, look like for me? I've never actually done anything KYC. We've worked with people who went from zero experience, to landing, these roles that you've said are your coveted roles in very top firms in the UK as well. So you can do it as well. You have 90% of the transferable skills required. What you need is probably the technical skills, the practical experience, as well as, the pointers as to the right places, to also explore as well, which we would give you, through the RKY Careers UK Compliance Bootcamp. Right. So what's the potential career path as well? What's the potential career path you can explore and the average salary? I think some of you already gave the expo the other time. We have KYC analyst, compliance analyst, risk manager, risk analyst, financial crime analyst, sanctions officer and analyst, AML compliance analyst, data protection specialist. The list is endless, to be honest. From this bootcamp as well, we've had people who secured roles like client due diligence analyst, accounts, senior accounts analyst, KYC analyst, obviously, and even roles that, you didn't even know, AML associates, AML, analyst as well. So why should, you consider a career path in compliance? It's very much high in demand, and, unlike some other roles as well, it is a bit of stability because there would always be regulations. In fact, there would even be changing regulations, and so long as regulations keep changing, there will be need for professionals to study these regulations and ensure compliance, to this regulation as well. Right. So why should you consider a career path, in compliance? There's high demand for compliance professionals. There would always be, new banks, new fintech companies starting up. And when these institutions start up, they need, to employ KYC analysts from time to time as well. I'm sure when we read the news, we hear about companies being sanctioned, for not being compliant. So there are usually loads of remediation projects, that requires, sometimes one company alone could be trying to get up to like 500 KYC analysts at the same time, across the different parts, of the world. In fact, not even the UK. And sometimes these roles are even remote. There was a time that Coinbase employed a very, massive employments across. There are people in the UK getting Coinbase KYC analyst jobs. In America, there were loads of jobs as well in the UK. So there's always, demand for compliance professionals, either KYC or AML or, data protection, and the rest. Career stability as well, just like I said, there's career stability as well, in this industry, based on the demand and based on, the fact that there would always be need for compliance, monitoring, adherence to protect businesses, to protect individuals, to protect, even countries, because the impact, that one compliance person, a very good one makes, can actually protect the whole country from being, because of course anti-money laundering, what's the benefit, who are the people that benefit from anti-money laundering? Terrorists benefit from this. A good compliance officer that is able to detect, and also report this kind of activities can protect a whole lot of harm from happening to, a lot of people, businesses, and all that. Right. So it's a very rewarding career. Even apart from the financial reward you get, you also get the reward that, you've done a very good job today. You've been able to, prevent this fraud from happening. You've been able to prevent this, illegal activity, right, from happening as well. It's a job that has global relevance across industries, across countries. There would always be need, for compliance analysts, for KYC analysts, for compliance professionals. Of course, it has competitive compensation, right? And there's the potential to also rise. You can start from KYC analyst today. Tomorrow, you are a KYC manager or AML manager. Next tomorrow, you are the, MLRO. There's a very big opportunity for growth. And the thing is, you can even be in the health and care industry today as a compliance manager or compliance analyst. Tomorrow, you might decide to change industry to the finance industry. Next tomorrow, you might try to change to the legal industry. So it gives also that flexibility to move from industry to industry as well, based on your interest. I have loads of people who are legal practitioners, and some wanted to stay within that, and some wanted to leave. For those that wanted to stay, after the boot camp, they applied to jobs within the legal space. They were qualified from outside the country, from their foreign qualified lawyers, right? And after the boot camp, they were able to get legal compliance analyst roles within law firms. For those that wanted to leave, they applied to banks. The same knowledge they gained from the boot camp, and they used this, to get compliance analysts, KYC analysts in the financial institution, in insurance companies, in fintechs, and all the likes. We also have the property and solicitors as well. They need AML analyst, KYC analyst, to be able to show that the property you want to invest in, that funds, where is the money coming from? Is it some funds that you got through dubious means that you want to cover up using properties? So across the different activities, there are always the need to ensure, that compliance, things are legally done, funds are being sourced, it's not embezzled funds, it's not, money that, the owners want to launder. There's opportunity for professional growth, and is also, it aligns with, global regulatory trends as well. Right. So this is now us introducing you to the RKY Careers Compliance Bootcamp. I've told you, right, about the career prospects, the reason why it's in demand, the reason why you should consider transitioning to this career, the earning potential of this role as well. So how can we help you achieve your transition to this field? Right. So the UK Compliance Bootcamp, is a bootcamp that offers you both the theoretical as well as practical, knowledge you need to get a job in this field, as well as thrive on the job as well. By the end of the bootcamp, you'll be able to, not only understand, but be confident in your abilities, right, to actually interview for this role, as well as land the desired jobs. We've recorded a very good number of success stories in this role. If you go to our Instagram page, you see loads of success stories that we've had, across, different parts of, the UK. Even we have people that are physically in Nigeria landing job with, UK firms, that need remote staff as well. And we've had people also land sponsorship job also within, this role. There are also, I think the council too is another place where a lot of people also get jobs in this field, across industries really, this role, is viable and in demand. So if you enroll for the RKY UK Compliance Bootcamp, what are the benefits you stand to get? So it's a 5 weeks long bootcamp that happens on Saturdays, 4 to 6 p.m. You get to enjoy the virtual live classes, not recordings. You get to work on real life scenarios, solving real life cases, right? You enjoy our interview preparation, session. You get to work on quizzes and competency tests, right, to hone your skills that you've gained. You get to work on practical case studies. You get to access to our LMS. You get, certificate of completion, a CPD accredited one, because we are a CPD accredited training provider. You also get to enjoy post bootcamp alumni support through our monthly career webinar, right? And also through our drop-in, right? So our drop-in interview prep sessions as well. So we won't leave you hanging. We'll also do your CV and LinkedIn for you after the bootcamp, and also support you as well. So you get to also work on cases to gain practical work experience, which you'll be able to put on your CV, right, as well when you are searching for jobs. So who can take this course? Right. So this course is ideal for, not only early career beginners, anyone at all seeking a career in all the areas we've mentioned earlier, foreign trained lawyers, ex-bankers, ex-customer service professionals. If you don't even have work experience at all and looking for where to kickstart your career, is a good starting point as well. So in our bootcamp, you gain, a range of competencies, right? So you'll be able to have a very good understanding of, the regulatory framework. You understand KYC and AML, data protection and privacy, GDPR, financial sanctions, risk assessments, and mitigation. You also understand, the new course that we are introducing in January, right, is a newly improved course that also has, right, the integration of artificial intelligence. So all our courses, especially this as well, has an artificial intelligence, module, because of course that's is the new trend, right? And we update all our curriculum and projects and all that in line with industry trends to give our students the advantage in the market, really, right? So you get to enjoy all this. Right. So far, if there's any questions you've had, based on anything I've said, please drop it in the chat box. I'll come to it as well and take your questions. Right. So after our boot camp, here are some roles that some of our students have gone ahead, to land, from AML analyst, compliance analyst, risk analyst, KYC analyst, compliance officer, data protection officer, regulatory affairs specialist, clients intakes, analyst, compliance analyst, business compliance analyst, KYC QC analyst, AML investigator, among others, really. Right. So the question that a lot of people ask about whether or not they can get visa sponsorship through the compliance career path, I always tell them that as you can see on the screen, right, this field also has a great potential for visa sponsorship. With the two codes you can see, you can get roles either in the compliance field, even legal compliance officer, compliance manager, and the likes. So if you find a company that is willing to sponsor, right, they will be able to sponsor you, in these roles. 1 minute, please. So please, if you have your questions, keep your questions coming. So here are some success stories that we've had just a few that have, like, compliance, this bootcamp related. We have loads of them on Instagram. We also have loads as well that we are yet to post. We have a backlog, of success stories to post. Here are some more roles that, we've helped people to secure as well in relation to this bootcamp. Right. So based on everything we've said, you get access to our user-friendly LMS for up to 12 months. This is where all classes are recorded. So for instance, if you are busy, you are working, or you are in class, you want to revisit, a lot of other people that have landed their success stories through this bootcamp have actually testified to the fact that, right, the LMS has been very, very, instrumental to them landing their success story, because it's, packed with loads of interview prep resources, loads of resources as well, from previous cohorts as well. So you get access to this for up to a year. You get our CPD accredited certificate of completion. You get to work on projects and quizzes. All our bootcamps are always practical work experience focused. Right. So you get interview prep. You get, reference for projects completed. You get to also continue to be part of the alumni community. So based on all these things we've said, right, the cost, the value, right, of the bootcamp is, over £1,500. However, we are currently running an early bird discount for 2024 cohorts that brings it down to £599. So if I were you, I would secure my slot now, which you can do with just 50% off. With just 50%. Right. So you can secure your slots with just £299, right? And then pay the balance by month end. Right. So if you are joining from Nigeria, right, or from Africa, right, you send WhatsApp message to the numbers on the screen to find out more, as it relates to you. So are there any questions so far, based on anything I've, said so far? Or it's been crystal clear? Are there any questions about the compliance field, about the boot camp, about, the roles? Are there any questions at all? I've had quite an interactive class from the start. Okay, if everything is clear, just put in the chat box that everything is clear. So that I know that you guys can still hear me. Hope you guys can hear me though. Okay, so please, what is the career progression in compliance like? Just drop your questions, right? I'm not the only one here today. We also have a facilitator, right, who you'll be meeting shortly. I just wanted to see if there are any questions at all that I can answer before we move to the next phase of the session. Right. So we move to the next phase of the session, and I'm sure, our facilitator, who is a subject matter expert, right, is going to also do justice to your question. Right. So our facilitator is no one, but Lumi. Right. Lumi is a dual qualified, solicitor, right? For those of you who are like foreign trained for solicitor and also considering, I want to what's it called? I want to qualify here. I think this is someone who has also, and we've had quite a number of people who are also qualified in the UK also attend our boot camp just to transition to compliance, because they've seen that even after qualification, right, they still want to explore something different from, just being a lawyer or something. So Lumi is a dual qualified solicitor with, over 12 years of experience across, top financial and banking institutions in the UK. Of course, he has loads of accolades of certifications and professional membership, right? And I will allow him do justice to the rest of his introduction, right? So Lumi, if you're in the house, you're welcome to take the floor.
Yeah. Hi all. My name is Lumi Otolori, and thanks for attending. And it's a pleasure to have you guys. Happy New Year! And this is the first session in 2024. So we're just here to talk about what we do at RKY, and also to answer most of your questions. Okay. So normally I would like to start with my own journey. How I came into the compliance space, and how I ended up in RKY, and my own mission and objective. So, yeah, just like most of the people here, I'm also a jackpot. I jackpot almost 2 decades ago, and I think the first challenge I had was getting, a proper job. I was practicing in Nigeria, like most of you guys, working as a solicitor. And when I jackpot, I was amazed that I wasn't able to get a very good job. I was shocked. I wasn't expecting that and all that. And I think that's one thing a lot of people also experience. And it took me about 7 years to get into banking. Which is quite a long time. And I just felt, okay, wow, I don't want this to happen to anyone. So that's probably the reason why I'm with RKY. And also, the first job I got was as a customer service person in Primark, and my job was just to keep the place clean. And I was like, wow, how can I come from practicing law to sweeping floor in the UK and all that? So, but the good thing about it is that nobody is going to come out there to save anybody. You're going to have to hustle from wherever you are. So yeah, it was a very low beginning. Yeah, but I'm proud to say that things are now changed. Today I'm now training people. I have experience in banking and all that. But just to buttress the point that if you plan well and you aim for something, definitely you will get it. Where most of us are resilient, we don't want to do all those low paid jobs. And the fact is that you might not even survive on those low paying jobs. That's one of the challenges a lot of people have had. So, they might get a low paying job. And then the funny thing is that you can't even live at the same level of standard you were living maybe before you migrated to the UK and all that. So, it's a serious journey. And we at RKY, we're here to guide you, hold your hands, and make sure that you understand what you need to do to get a good job in compliance. So, I'll give you a little bit of my journey. So I started reading when I was doing my job in Primark. I started reading. A lot of people were discouraging me, you're wasting your time and all that. At that point in time, we had very few Africans in the banking sector. So it was like a big thing then. Like a lot of people were not expecting that you get an opportunity. So started reading, started taking some certifications and everything. That was the long route I took then. Did all the certifications, didn't understand what I was even reading. I was just passing them anyway. And then I got an offer to my first banking role, okay? And that was PPI insurance. And then I got into the banking. That was pretty much easy anyway. But the challenge was breaking into KYC, okay? And then I started reading KYC and then finally got an opportunity for a junior role in one of the banks, then Credit Suisse. And I remember my first week in Credit Suisse, it was like, what is all this stuff there? What is KYC? What is AML and everything? It was very confusing, and all that. But luckily for me, I had a lot of people there that were happy to help me. So they were training me on sanctions, training me on PEP, training me on this, on KYC and everything. And they helped me, they trained me on everything. And I actually knew more than everybody at the end of the day because I was learning from everybody. And I was very humble. I wasn't trying to show off that, I've learned this, I've learned that, and all that. And I was just learning it, for my own personal development, not, to show off or anything. So that's how I learned it. And I think on my second job, I applied for Santander job, having done quite a while at Credit Suisse, okay? I think about 9 months. When I applied for a job at Santander, I thought, now I know KYC and everything. And at that interview, they totally embarrassed me and they were asking me questions I could not answer. And that puts me in a lot of discomfort. Like, okay, I've just done 9 months of excellent work at Credit Suisse where they even wanted to offer me a permanent job. All that. And here I am. I don't even understand any of the questions these guys were asking me. And Credit Suisse is a much bigger bank than Santander. So I was just wondering what's going on here. So at that interview, a lot of the questions they asked me were alien to me. And at the end of the interview, I just reached out to the lady that, look, I'm sorry, I don't understand all these questions. And I would just like you to explain this stuff to me and, just impart knowledge on me. I know I won't get the job, but at least I want to learn. And she took another 20 minutes and she went through the questions and everything. And then she said, look, the answer to everything is go and read GMLSG and FATF, blah, 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 in addition to the experience you have that I need to even upgrade what I already know. So at that moment, I knew it was important to have the theoretical knowledge and the practical knowledge at the same time. Because even if you've been in the industry for a while, as RKY said, the CEO, you might have industry knowledge, but you might not have the most current knowledge. So someone that is reading 2024 stuff will know more than someone that is reading 2017 or 2018 stuff. Someone that just stopped reading, that just got comfortable. Some of us, when we get home, we just have to handle the kids or something like that. There is a lot of stuff going on. You don't have time, but so you have to be up to date, okay? And that's one of the benefits of RKY. We are giving you up to date, as the CEO said. We are constantly upgrading our syllabus, making sure it's relevant. We are picking up anything that needs to be taught and all that. Okay, it's not possible to teach you guys everything, but we're going to show you where to get your information from. And I know that most of you already know a little bit about KYC and AML. Most people are from maybe Nigeria, Ghana, maybe a few people from Canada and all that, all over the world anyway. But there's corruption everywhere you are. So you are almost like a natural detective or compliance officer. I'm sure we all have bank accounts. And what's happening is that you'll be on the other side of the onboarding. It's going to be reversed. So you're a customer, you have a bank account. Whatever questions they ask you when you're opening a bank account, are the same questions you are going to learn how to ask someone who has opened a bank account. And you're merely a police person in the bank, just ensuring that compliance has been done. So once you're a level-headed person and you are able to detect errors and, you have integrity, you follow the rules, just as Theo explained, all those characteristics of a good compliance officer. Most people here, as I've noticed, are professionals already and all that. But one thing at our KYC is that we've transformed people from different industries into compliance. Okay? There are a lot of entry-level roles where they will give you an opportunity, and they might not pay a lot initially, but you have your first 3-6 months learning more on the job after your project, and, after some time, you can now move into better paying roles and all that. So I'm just trying to manage your expectation. It's not like, okay, you finish training, the next day you're going to get 100K job or 200K job. We can't do that. Some people have been lucky, they've gotten very good pay and all that, but we cannot say when you finish this course, you're going to get a job immediately in 2 days or 1 week and all that. But a lot of it now depends on your own effort. So, you'll be the one to save yourself. You'll be the one to read our stuff and also watch all the videos we have in our LMS. So you'll be the one to do a lot of the work. We just have to point you in the right direction that this is the KYC legislation, this is the AML legislation, this is what OFAC says, this is what OFSI says. This is what you need to do when you have a PEP. This is what recommendation 12 of the FATF guidance says. So the FATF guidance is the 40 recommendations guiding anti-money laundering and terrorist financing and proliferation of arms. So at the end of the course, you might sound a little bit boring, but you start sounding like a solicitor quoting different sections, because we want you to know the source. Okay, why are we doing KYC? What is OFAC? Where is the website for OFAC and all that? So those are some of the things you have to embrace. So those are some of the things you have to take to your interview. And also we have a community whereby people go for interviews, come back. We all share interview questions. We have a WhatsApp group. It's for life, I believe. And you can continuously ask questions. And we also have a new drop-in session whereby I think twice a month or thereabout, you come and ask your questions. I don't know. All the benefits are there. It's just for you to decide. If you looked around, you see that our program is probably the best out there. There is no match for this program. I'm not bragging because I'm the facilitator, but we are making sure that we're excellent and we are miles ahead of the program. We have a project whereby you work just to make sure that you check your skills, we identify any gaps you have, and that builds on your competence. You having finished the project, you know that, oh yes, I deserve to get a reference for what I've done here and all that. So, I don't know what more to say, but I can continue talking about KYC. I need to even break down what we are going to teach you guys. So we have KYC, we have AML, which also comes into transaction monitoring. We have GDPR, and we have sanctions. I think you should have an idea of everything. but it's a solid package, okay, which can pivot you in various directions. Today, you can look at the sanction side of things, and you'll be able to apply for sanction jobs and all that. You also understand it. The way I understand it is always helped me by understanding those various parts, and that's why we put the course together. GDPR is also very important. You don't want to put your company in trouble. You need to understand GDPR when you need to use your privacy notice, you know, how to design a GDPR program, what are the things to look for, what are the challenges in GDPR. Sanctions, it's a very, how would I say, maybe I would say it's a very dangerous area, because without the proper understanding of sanctions, someone can put the person's bank in a lot of trouble. Because if you see BNP Paribas that got a fine of, is it 3 billion? Or they about, no, sorry, 9.8 billion or something like that. 9 billion or something. That's a huge penalty for not having proper sanctions procedures in place. So sanctions is very lucrative. No bank wants to mess up. And also, just like the other, KYC to AML, KYC is like a tool of anti-money laundering. Anti-money laundering. So KYC is what we use to gather information about clients and to review and to take a decision on whether to onboard the client or not. KYC gives us information about the client, which is mandatory, which we have to comply with. There are so many laws out there. The Anti-Money Laundering Act 2018, the Proceeds of Criminal Activity, terrorist financing. There's the Fraud Act, there's the Anti-Bribery Act. So you have a lot of acts, and the beauty of all of this is that there's nothing difficult there. By the time you finish this course, you have a different mindset. Our aim is just to change your mindset. So now you're thinking, oh, what's this ALUNMI guy saying? You know, and all that. I understand. But by the end of the course, you'll be like a tiger, like, I can even take ALUNMI's job. So that's possible. But you have to read a lot to be like me. But it's not impossible to know more than I do if you do everything. If you do everything. We have the materials, we have everything. We'll point you in the right direction. This is the US law, this is the UK law. And we'll also support you in your application. This is how we are going to apply for jobs. These are the steps. This is strategy we have used. This is how you call a recruiter. You know, these are the things you need to have in place. You need to understand what is outside our 35, what's inside our 35. Do you want to work under an umbrella company? Do you want to work under payee? Is umbrella better than payee? You know, things like that. And also the interview questions. We have mock interview sessions whereby some of the people will volunteer to be put to the test of see what they've learned and see if they remember everything they've learned anyway. So, and that just puts a lot of pressure on you, which is, you know, this is a controlled environment and prepares you for the environment out there. So one thing I can assure you is that we'll do our best. I won't say we are perfect, but I know we are passionate. We are the faculty is much better than anything you see out there. I can assure you about that. I've been in the business for a long time. RKY is a different kind of company, passionate, and she's nice. She will always give you guys what you want most of the time. Well, of course, it has to be reasonable. So, you know, that's all I can say. Had a lot of good success stories. Our own mission is to also help to prevent financial crime and prevent terrorism. So whatever small stuff we are doing here, it's going to be big stuff at the end of the day, somewhere. The next thing you might be maybe head of the AFCC, or I don't know, or World Bank, or, you know, MLRO in London or in Frankfurt or wherever you are. And the course is fully virtual. So we're well prepared to take you guys on. And if you guys do have any questions, I think at some point in time, you guys will be able to come up with your questions. I don't want to take too much of your time because I can really go on and on. KYC, AML, sanctions, and GDPR is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. So RKY, should I go on? I don't know whether I'm talking too much. How much time do I have left?
Thank you, Lumi. Let's take questions. Let's take questions from people so that we can talk to their, Yeah, so we have a couple of questions though. We have please, what is a career progression in compliance like?
Okay, is that for me?
Yeah.
Okay. So a career progression in compliance, it now depends on what stream you are on. If you are in the if you are in the AML stream, your peak is probably going to be head of compliance, or if you are specialized in financial crime, you want to stick to maybe nominations officer, MLRO officer. That would be the peak. But in compliance area, it's going to be head of compliance, which is which encompasses everything. AML KYC is a very big chunk out of it. So yeah, head of compliance is peak.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, to add to what you said, there's a lot of, progression opportunities within the space. Before you get to that compliance, head of compliance, there are so many roles in between. If that's the question, there are so many roles in between and so many promotions we can possibly get. And there's also chief compliance officer in some companies. So it depends. Chief risk officer, depending on which area you specialize in the end as well. And to be honest, based on materiality of materiality and significance and relevance of the role, these are very high paying roles. Whoever it is that you have trusted to make sure that you don't pay fines, to make sure that you won't be offering the person a 20K salary, or it's a very highly rewarding career, if that answers your question, Ogechi. So Senami also asks us that for one who have no background in law, which area of profession can one do? Okay. You don't need to have a background in law to actually pursue a career in compliance. There are different areas within the compliance space. Just like that was why I asked you that question at the beginning. Like, mention the regulatory body within your career, within your industry, where you currently operate. You would see that, almost all the industries have their regulators. And when they have their regulators, definitely there has to be someone who is monitoring, the regulation, compliance. Right. So I think Lumi, maybe you want to also add to that.
So what was the question? Sorry. Is it
for someone who does not have a background in law, which area do they explore?
Okay. So yeah, to be honest, if you are trying to have a career change and you are moving into a new area, there is no problem with that. Then there are some roles that you don't even need any experience for, because you're transferring. And we've had a lot of students that are transferring from the care industry. Like me, I myself, I moved from Primark and all those kind of jobs and finally ended up in banking because I didn't have UK banking experience, but there was someone gave me an opportunity, and that's when it all started. So nobody is actually, they all start from somewhere. Nobody is born with experience. So the good thing is that what we'll do here is going to just give you the knowledge that will help you to jump into the industry, and then from there, your experience will go. You might be applying for a smaller role, smaller than whatever you're even doing now. Maybe you're a director in Nigeria or a manager in Ghana or something, and you just have to start from a junior role, and then maybe after 1 or 2 years, you might get back to where you are, changing roles and maybe looking for the right opportunity. And that's what we're going to help you to do. We'll guide you on that.
Thank you, Lumi. So yes, if you don't have a background in law, you don't need to have a background in law. Like we said, law firms are one of the places you can get jobs in where your legal experience will probably give you an advantage. There are also the banking industry, there's insurance industry, there's fintech, there's council, like, local councils, there are property companies, I mentioned a couple of them. A lot of our students actually gotten compliance related roles within law firms, and that's because they have background in law. But those that don't have background in law, some have ended up in banks, so there's no limit to where you can actually get jobs in. So it depends on what your area of interest in is, right? But over here, we're going to actually equip you with the skills you need to explore a wide range of, opportunities, right? So how about someone that is willing to take this lesson but is looking to relocate to the USA soonest? So they're asking the relevance of the knowledge they gain here in the USA environments.
Yeah, so it's quite similar because they are both jurisdictions that have very strict AML and KYC requirements. So the US requirements and the UK requirements are quite similar. So what happens in the UK is a little bit more tighter, is a bit tighter than what happens in the US. So once you learn what happens here, which also covers the US, then, and all that. Like the OFAC now, OFAC is US, and we're definitely going to touch on that in sanctions. And I would say 50% of the sanctions class is actually touching on OFAC, to be honest. So, you are covered. We've had students from Canada, US, everywhere, and all that. And you're also free to ask other questions. But in banking, because it's global, you have to make sure that your compliance program covers all the jurisdictions and you identify your requirements. So, yeah, we cover the US, cover the UK, I've worked in US banks and UK banks and all that. Difference is not much. Yeah,
okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So there you have it, right? I mean, the world is a very small and global village right now. The regulations that also of course, there are still usually local regulations, right? However, we have most of them are trying to meet international best practice. So we have the FATCA, we have the OFAC, like I said, we have the ones that cuts across the different jurisdictions as well. But of course, even within the UK, we can't even teach you everything, but we point you at places you need to read. You also need to do some self what's it called as well, to have from your job descriptions in the US, right? You'll probably be able to identify one or two regulations that you need to read about and know about, to get better as well. So what days and hours does the classes hold? So classes hold Saturdays 4 to 6 p.m. for 5 weeks, starting January 27th. Right, so the first class for this cohort is January 27th, and classes hold on Saturdays. So I believe we've answered all the questions. We have a hand up. I don't know if you are unable to type, right? So would prefer if you drop your question in the chat box. But if you can't, okay, just go on.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I don't know what's going on with the keypad. I'm not able to type. So the question I quickly want to ask is, what are the realistic chance that as a beginner, if you go through all this training and everything, and you are acquired, a competent knowledge for a startup, what are your chances of being able to be assigned with a role that enables you to work remotely as a new starter?
Okay. Lumi, do you want to go first?
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. And I'm sorry. I asked that question just to also look at the, probability or possibility of work-life balance.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay, Lumi, go first. Don't worry. Lumi, go first.
Okay, I'm sure our answers are going to be similar. So that's a very good question, and yes, work-life balance. Like me now, I've not been to the office since 2019, right? I've not been in an office since 2019. Okay, yes, I've been in an office, for 6 weeks on one of my projects, but that was all I've done. And that's 6 weeks since 2019, which I think is about 4 years ago, right? So that is really a long time ago. So there are a lot of remote jobs, but I have to warn you, there are also a lot of hybrid jobs whereby there's a mix and match. Maybe 3 days in the office, 2 days at home. If your guy is very nice, then they can say, oh yeah, do 5 days at home. Like me now, there is no way I'm going to any office. So I'm the one picking my children up, traveling all over the place. I'm the one doing everything. The day that stops, I'm in big trouble. So there are loads of opportunities for work from home in a lot of the roles now, especially in compliance and IT roles. So business analysts, project managers, and also compliance roles. So I have not been in the office for a long time. That's my own case, and I love it,
So thank you, Lumi. So it's
Wow.
right, you said it's right. So this, like,
Wow.
generally the way to work in the UK, and I think most, I don't know, most advanced countries, right, is more pro remote work, rather than, coming to work in the office, because it even saves them a lot. They don't want to run operation costs, There's cost of living crisis to deal with. There's a lot of things to deal with. Even they don't want you to. Most companies don't want you to. They might ask you to come for a physical interview, and after that, you probably get to like work maybe one day in the office. Some it will be 1 month in the office and other days. And depending on, like, just like you said, there are some roles that might be hybrid on contracts, but you might not even get to go in. But like you said, prepare yourself for a hybrid situation. But most KYC roles, even before COVID itself, were remote. But post-COVID, a lot of companies that were not even remote changed the way they worked, to adopting the remote, way of working, or hybrid way of working. So I don't know if there are more
Wow.
questions
Thank
now in
you
the
so
chat
much.
box.
Thank you so much for that answer. So I would say this is a gushy job. It is really, really gushy job, I would call it.
Okay. Okay, so do you record the classes for people who work full-time? Yes, we do. Like I said earlier, all classes are recorded and available on the LMS within 48 hours. The LMS is, our e-learning platform where all classes, are uploaded to. Previous classes are also available there. Previous resources that has been uploaded there. That's the platform you use in submitting your assignments. That's actually the system that manages our learning. So all assignments, quizzes, and all that are done, and assessments are done within this learning management system, right? So yes, all classes are recorded for those that work full-time. And if you want to revisit, to watch again when you have an interview, the resources are on the LMS as well. It looks like we've done a very good job in explaining. We don't have loads of questions, and we still have quite a very good number of attendants, but no questions. Oh, I don't know if we don't have any questions. Let me see if I still. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can still see my screen.
Yes,
Is my
we can.
Okay, it's still showing.
We can still see her.
Okay, so this is the schedule for the cohorts starting on the 27th of January, which is 2 weeks time. So the enrollment is actually ending soon. We're actually close to getting to the peak of, we're actually getting to the peak of the limits we've set, as what we want to have in a class at a time. And that's because we started taking enrollments since November. So if you are yet to secure your slots, please rush now and secure your slots, because enrollment is ending soon, as well as the end of the year discount. We're about to close enrollments, right? So there you have it. The account details to pay as well too is on the screen. Admin, please paste these account details as well in the chat box. Right. So also visit our YouTube, to watch recording of this. If you want to share the recording of this session with any of your friends and family who you think may be interested, subscribe to our YouTube at RKY Careers, and follow us as well across our social media pages, RKY Careers as well. Right, so I think we have more questions now to take in the chat box. Right, is there any correlation with compliance and cybersecurity? Is there any correlation? So, is there any correlation with compliance and cybersecurity? Lumi, do you want to take that?
Oh yes, yeah. Cybersecurity falls under compliance because there are cybersecurity regulations you have to comply with, and cybersecurity is just an area where they deal with cybercrime and ensure that a company has defenses that will help it to prepare for any malicious attack or anything like that. So that's very interesting. I don't know I think RKY is planning to do a course on that. I don't know.
Yeah, so cybersecurity is related to compliance, just like I said. Compliance is actually very broad. There's compliance across, even in IT, there's IT compliance and governance risk. There are different, angles and, areas of compliance, right? Which, to be honest, might be confusing if you get to do all of it in just one course, right? Say, for instance, now we already said within this one year is more tilted towards the KYC, AML, anti-money laundering, KYC, AML, financial crime, So there's also the IT, there's this, even with this cybersecurity, there are different, areas as well. There's information security, cyber security, and all that. Even I was speaking with someone who is also, a compliance officer, yesterday, and he was telling me how, he had his own is more tilted towards the ISO, trying to get companies to align with, the ISO standards, the 9001, the 27001, carbon oxides, this and that. There's a wide range of areas, of compliance, but this one is not, towards the cybersecurity one. We might have something coming up in that area soon, but, there's a correlation between compliance and cybersecurity. However, the role are distinct. The role of a KYC analyst is different from a cybersecurity analyst. The role of the compliance in this area of compliance that we are training you on is different from the cybersecurity one. Right. I hope that explains better. Or if you want to rephrase your question, maybe we can be able to also attempt it again. So Senami says, after the boot camp, is there a certificate given? Yes. I said this earlier. Probably you're one of those that joined or, much later. You get a certificate of completion, a CPD UK accredited certificate of completion. So CPD UK is, a UK accreditation body, that endorses and assess, training institutes and gives them a goal that their curriculum, their delivery, and their methods are
RKY, I think you're on mute, or maybe you cut off.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Well, I don't know. Where did I stop?
I think CPD, yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that CPD, right, means continuous professional development, right? It's a professional, it's an accreditation body, right, that endorses professional or training institution and endorses their materials. So they've looked at our materials, they've said it's okay. They've looked at our delivery method, they've said it's up to international standard. They've looked at, our assessments and everything, and they've, given us that accreditation and endorsements that, we are, our learning methods and everything are up to standard. So you get a certificate, a CPD accredited certificate. Right. Is there any correlation with business analysis, as I am already enrolled for the next BA bootcamp? Right. So the way compliance industry works and the way all these roles even work, they are all interrelated in one way or the other, right? Say, for instance, now within the KYC, say for instance, they find a particular bank, right? And because of that, they need to remedy a lot of accounts that have been opened, right? This remediation, right, has to be done as a project. On these projects, they would have a project manager. The project manager they will bring on board in this part now will not be a project manager that does not have compliance background. It will be a project manager that also, so the person they will favor, they might put the role as project manager right there, but the person they will favor at the end of the interview is someone that is a project manager that can use collaboration tools and do everything project management, but also has KYC background because of so someone that has KYC or compliance background, we have that industry and role advantage over just an ordinary project manager. So that's for project management side. Business analysts as well. What do business analysts do? They profile solutions, right, to business problems and business needs. Within the compliance department, just like any other department within every institution, they might want to optimize their processes. They might want to improve, the way things are being done, right? And when they are doing this, they might need a business analyst, right, who has a compliance background to come and actually help them optimize the process. So the business analyst in this case will try to do a gap analysis. What's your current process like? How do you do transaction monitoring at the moment. How do you do this? So it won't be someone that does not know compliance or KYC. It has to be someone now that understands the KYC and compliance rule that they will give an advantage. So when you go to that interview of a business analyst now, and you're giving them that, okay, I know this these are the stages, I know this is the process, I know this JMLSG, I know this, you mention all those things, they'll be like, okay, we don't need to even train you specially on you are a BA, right? But we don't need to train you specially about compliance processes, about KYC, because you have that background, and that would give you an advantage in that role. So these are ways that you can look at it. Also, maybe even the project related one, they might need a BA as well on that project that does the gap analysis on maybe how remediation were being done previously, why were they fined, what can be done, to make the process better. So those are the ways that you can actually find an interrelationship between BA, compliance, and even any other role, in fact, right? So the companies would always employ based on their needs. Their needs might not be well put, on the job description sometimes, but they know what they need. I might be recruiting, for instance, for a CV writer, but I also, based on my business need, I might know that I have like 5 business, I might know I have 5 CV writers, right? But I also need someone that can also design, right? So if I interview a CV writer that is also bringing design to the table, that person will have an advantage over several other business CV writers at my interview. I don't know if that makes any sense. So it's in this space right now, it's not even about just being ordinary. It's about what more can you bring to the table, because there are many people that already have what's there. There are many people that are compliance professionals out there. There are many people that are project managers out there. But what is that extra that you are bringing to the table? We've had some people also in our project management bootcamp, that were probably in the project management bootcamp before, then they joined the data analysis bootcamp. And in the data analysis bootcamp, they learned how to build dashboard, how to do some things. Guess what? When they went for project management interviews later on, what stood them out among other project managers was the ability to build dashboard, to analyze data, to do all that. Same with the compliance industry as well. If you're also able to use analytical skills, use Excel, use all this, build dashboard, you actually be able to stand up, because process optimization is ongoing across departments, across roles, across industries, across levels as well. So it's about you having more to bring to the table. It doesn't end in just the compliance bootcamp or whichever bootcamp you are on. The continuous development mindset, right, is something we need to imbibe as a people as well, because we have a lot of people who go on to land jobs but can't even keep the job because they get complacent and relaxed that, oh, I already got this job and then I can relax. But that's when you now hear that, oh, they sacked some people in some job, they got it after a month, they sacked them. Because sometimes we also get lucky to land a job because maybe on the job description we've seen it ourselves that they said you have to be able to do A, B, C, D, but you can do A and B only, but you manage to impress them. Maybe sometimes they even employ you, they don't ask you questions related to the role. They just ask you questions and then they pick interest in you and give you the job. But yourself, that when you read that job description, they said that it will be advantageous if you can use a particular tool. And you can't use that tool. You don't need to wait till the day they now need you to use that tool before you now start looking for where to learn it. You should take it as, a project of your own that, okay, I got this job based on this. I'm a data analyst. I can use only 3 tools. I got the job based on that. How about trying to add value to yourself such that if tomorrow the need for the tool that is on the job description comes up, or the company decides to even use another tool completely, are you adaptable? Do you accept change? Do you drive change? Are you someone that is easy to learn something new? So that's the mindset that would help us, right, as we get into the markets. Right. So I believe that's answers, or I hope it answers your question, Joe. Okay, so I have a dilemma about what training to do between UK Compliance, PM, BA. I have a PGD in clinical and health psychology and work in care for the moment. To be honest, that dilemma, you probably need to go watch our recordings on our tech summit, and also you've attended this one as well. There's none of the boot camps you can attend, to be honest. They are all, they all have their benefits, but it has to come, the motivation for joining anyone you choose has to come from within. Because when the going gets tough, then you remind yourself as to, okay, this is the reason why I choose this. It's because it's in line with my background. It's because it meets my long-term goal. It's because I have a background in this and it fits into that. It's because it fits my personality. You need to still make that decision. We can go on and explain to you what all the courses are all about, but at the end of the day, will not tell you that this is the one you should go for. You still need to make that decision yourself. Right. So Joe says, but this course looks very interesting and comes across so easy. Lumi?
Yes, I just wanted to add to, I think, is it, who asked the question? The last one, I think Alida, I don't know.
Clinical health psychology, yeah?
Yes, so I wanted to say, well, I'm a bit biased, but I think KYC is the best of them all. Because you can't be a good BA without subject matter knowledge, and you can't be a good PM without some of the knowledge in that area where you want to be PM. So, like, let's say you want to be a business analyst on a KYC project. You have to be almost a subject matter expert. Because I've worked as a BA in AML, and I've worked as AML specialist and all that. So what happens is that your AML, KYC, GDPR, sanctions knowledge is your foundation. And then the IT skills you need to be able to explore that knowledge and also to make it, to use it to create a more efficient model or to upgrade something or to do whatever you want to do or whatever project. You also need to have subject matter. Somebody that wants to work as a business analyst in AML doesn't know AML, and someone like Lumi knows AML and business analyst. So definitely give Lumi. That's all I'm saying. That so I know you have a tough decision, but in the long run, if you decide that you are going to stay in this area, maybe you want to be IT in the banking sector like a business analyst, I would say if you can, well, if you can afford to do so, and if you like to do so, just do business analyst and AML. But on our own compliance project and compliance training, there will be some tiny bits of pieces of business analysis that we'll have to talk about anyway, because it's not just focused on making you guys compliance analysts, it's also trying to push you guys towards the final place, which is to be like a manager or IT professional in that industry. Yeah, I hope that helps. Yeah.
Okay, so Lumi has already told you that you might be biased, but he has answered your question. But yes,
Mr. Lumi, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in. I just want to ask another quick specific question in that area of compliance. Right. Are there any other standard certification or recertification ladder that one needs to climb that will be applicable to that compliance industry after you've gotten your initial role as a starter? Maybe, okay, after some time, you need to have this professional body certification thereon, other than internal recommended course that your employer can send you into and say, okay, we have this new thing on board. We want you to be trained on that. We want you to be knowledgeable, or if there are specific certification that one need to go and do so that you can at the same time enjoy career progression and job satisfaction thereon.
Yeah, very good question, Moses. So, yes, there are quite a number of certifications, and the two best certifications out there, one is the American Incline, which is the ACAMS, and the other one is ICA, which is European. Again, I'm biased. I'm an ICA member. I think ICA is miles ahead because they have better programs. It's more like their diploma is designed like a master's course, in collaboration with the University of Manchester or something like that. So it gives you everything you need for whatever area masters you want to do there, whether it's diploma or there's a diploma, but I think it's about 4,005 or 5,000. Then there's a professional diploma, which is about maybe 8,000 or 9,000 or something like that. Then, but one thing I can tell you is that in the UK, they prefer work experience over qualifications. But as you've said, for career progression, you can add all those things if you want to move ahead. Because if they look at you, Lumi has ICA, you have the same number of years of experience, and you don't have ICA, they probably want to pick me. and there are some jobs that they advertise for those things. But I would advise that at least have like 1 or 2 years before having some of those ones, or else if you go and have them now, before you progress, it's better to be in the roles in that industry, and then once you have it, then you can now say, oh, I want to be manager or director now. After you can say I have the work experience.
You did talk about the cost.
Sorry?
The cost of these exams as well.
Oh, yes. So, like for the ICA now, they have some small certifications. I think they start from like 450, the certificates, and then the diplomas are about 5,000. Then the professional diplomas, the biggest ones in the ICA, I think about 8,000, 9,000. For 8,800 or thereabout. For the ACAMS is about 2,000 pounds. Yeah, and theirs is just like a certificate and all that. Yeah, So it just depends on, if you want to go back to school, just know you are going to ICA. You want to do something quick, not too expensive, ACAMS and more American. But if you are targeting, European banks and all that, then start looking at ICA. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Just like you said, and to add to that, we've had actually people who have these certifications who are still finding it difficult to get jobs because they lack the practical work experience, right? So just like I said, we would usually recommend that you start with, gaining, practical work experience, and, after you land your first job, then you can actually start investing, because this is investment. 7K, 2K, 8K is not, something you spend just on the basis of, is this really the one for me, or is this not the one for me? So I hope that answers your question. I work in the bank as a fraud advisor. Which is the best option for me? Is it compliance, KYC, or data analysis, please? Roughly, how much is the income per year in the compliance sector? I think, Alida, you joined late. We already showed the slides that had,
Hello?
We showed a slide that had the what's it called? Job prospects in that industry. I'll go back to the slide now while I allow Lumi take the question on fraud advisor before we call it a day. So Lumi, do you want to advise the fraud advisor?
Oh yes, great. So wow, that's a great thing. So you're already a fraud advisor. So I believe it now depends on what you want to look at. Do you want to go into forensic? Do you want to go into learning some data analysis and maybe ending up as maybe a forensic investigator or a data analyst, or you can decide to move into full KYC AML, maybe as an AML manager, where it's not only for the cover, you cover transaction monitoring, KYC, some GDPR and sanctions, so that it makes you an all-rounder. You're already in the industry, so I think it's a matter of you just upskilling and just deciding what direction. I assume you've already started doing transaction monitoring anyway and investigating fraud. So, you're already 80% there. So it depends. If you want to learn more about KYC, that's fine. You can add it to what you have. And also, in addition, you add sanctions and GDPR. I think, yeah.
Thank you, Lumi. Personally, I would say you should go for the data analysis, right? Because you've already broken into the, fraud or KYC. I'm sure, you've already broken into the banking industry. But like you said, it's up to you at the end of the day. Do you want to go all out to become an intelligence analyst, and a fraud analyst or thereabouts, or you want to go fully into compliance, right? Because I know that an advisor is like a, it's like, it's got fraud advisor, but it's still always similar to advising people, customer service kind of, so it depends on where you now want to take it from there. Do you want to go, further into compliance or data analysis? But we've advised you based on our own personal perspectives, but it's still up to you to decide which one is best for you, so that when they go and get stuff, you not say, oh, it's Rookie that said this one, or it's Lumi that said is that one, Cool. So okay, just to add, I have a master's in risk management as well. Well, our advice remains the same. I believe, so it's up to you. I think regardless of the one you choose, by the time you add, all this together for you, it will still give you a very unique brand, because, fraud, advisor, risk management, if it's KYC, you want to add to it, if it's data, you want to add to it, it still gives you a very unique um brand. Cool. I think we've done justice to all the questions, both individual, generic ones, and we still have like 40 of us in the meeting. Thanks for staying. Like it looks like there's no other question. We've done justice, we've explained. Like we said, try to secure your slots before the slots run out, right? Yes, and yeah, I think that's it from my end. Lumi, do you have any final words?
Well, I hope I see you guys on the other side. I don't know if we've spoken about price yet and all those things, though. I'm just checking.
Yes, we did. So we said that we are currently running a discount that brings it down to £599 only. This used to be a training that I think we sell for, is it $750, where people that want to pay one-off enjoy, a discount of paying $600, and people that want to pay in installments pay $675. But this is the final week of our early bird 2024 discount that brings it down to $599. For this $599, you get to enjoy the training, you get to work on projects, you get access to LMS, you get your CV and LinkedIn work on. You get to work on projects that you can put on your CV and get, verified. You get this verified when you land a job. You get, to continue to be a member of the RKY community. You get to attend sessions that you could individually pay like £100 to actually access, and you get to continue to access this, and you also get to continue to enjoy, all the improvements and all the improvements that we bring to the table as well. My own final words would be that the way the industry is at the moment is not like they've been saying that you should not grieve for anybody, right? It's about you fighting for your head. The market is saturated across all the roles, across all the roles. It's now about you being intentional that this year I'm also getting my success story. This year, I'm playing my part. This year, I'm adding value. I'm upskilling. I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm ticking all the boxes so that I will now know that what is left, is for God to crown your efforts with success. But you can't stay moaning and complaining in that same spot you were last year and expecting, something to happen out of no investment, out of no efforts of yourself, right? So this is the year, this year is going to be a very interesting year, and it's going to be a great year for all of us. But we need to start right, by investing in our careers, in our developments. It looks like there are lots of announcements about volatile stuff still yet to be made, right? But we can stay one step ahead. We don't want to wait till that moment where they now say, oh, this company has been fined. There are like 3,000 jobs in this particular area, before we're now looking for, where can I get a crash course in an AML or a KYC or any role, to be honest. You don't want to get to that stage where you now, it's like a do or die affair. You're now looking for a crash course. I think it's better that we prepare early, right? And, stay ahead of the game and, stand out in the market as well. I don't know if the account details was posted by admin on the page already. If not, please paste the account details so that people can secure their slots. And I think that will be it from me. I wish you all the best, and I wish to see you all in class as well when we resume, on the 27th of January. In the absence of any other question, let's have a great evening, and thanks guys for joining. Bye guys.
Okay. Thank you all. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lumi. Thank you, CEO. Really enjoyed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Please excuse me. I sent a question to the group.
What was the question?
Okay, my friend wanted to find out if RKY also offer software testing training.
Not at the moment.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, all.